What is going on, guys? It's Christian, and today I present to you the Clipse Iceberg Explain. Now, this is an iceberg I made completely by myself, so it's not perfect. I had no help making this thing, and this is my first attempt at a video like this just ever. And yeah, so I do want to get that out of the way. There will be mistakes. It's not a perfect list, but there's definitely going to be some cool and obscure stuff that even the most seasoned Clipse fans will learn from this video. And just to be crystal clear, this is a Clipse Iceberg video, so I'm not really going to be including any Pusha T solo career stuff or anything that's gone on there. If you guys really do want a part 2, I'm down to make that one day for you guys. But yeah, Clipse material only. So without further ado, let's get into this Pyrex. Lord Willin, Hell Hath No Fury, Till the Casket Drops, and Let God Sort 'Em Out. We are going to do these 4 as a group because we all know these are the 4 Clipse studio albums that they've released, and I'm just going to do a quick brief rundown on each one just in case you may have missed 1 or 2 of them. Lord Willin was Clipse's debut album, and it dropped in 2002. But it actually took a while to come out because their real first album actually ended up getting shelved as they faced some major label issues that we'll talk about later. When this album finally came out, however, it was a game changer. I mean, Grindin' had everyone banging on lunch tables. That beat was crazy simple, but hits so hard. Tracks like When the Last Time also showed they could make a club banger, but it was songs like Virginia that really told you what Clipse were about, that raw street life with no filters. Backed by Neptunes production, this album is a true classic if you ask any avid hip-hop fan. Alright, Hell Hath No Fury. This is my favorite Clipse album to this day. It came out in 2006 after all that label drama that had them stuck for years, and you can really feel all that pressure in the music here. I mean, this whole album is like a cold, unfiltered commentary on the lifestyle they were living. Not just the flashy drug talk, but the paranoia, the consequences, and the inner conflict. And the Neptunes, who was later confirmed by Pusha T in a recent interview to be just Pharrell taking the wheel in terms of production on this album, laced the brothers with these icy, stripped down beats that make every single verse hit so hard. I mean, songs like Keys Open Doors and Mama I'm So Sorry really show the highs, but tracks like Nightmares also bring you back to reality. This album is raw, focused, and honest. I mean, there's no wasted bars here. 10 out of 10. Till the Casket Drops is the 3rd Clipse studio album. It dropped in 2009. This one has the most mixed and sort of poor reviews amongst Clipse fans. It doesn't have the greatest reputation. Some people really don't like it, like Push himself. But yeah, obviously this album came out right before they went on the hiatus and, you know, Malice left and everything, which we'll talk about more in detail soon. But yeah, I think a really underrated cut from this album is actually the intro track, Freedom, and that also has a cool music video that you guys should check out. So yeah, shout out to that intro song. I do think it's one of the better Clipse songs, actually. Let God Sort 'Em Out is Clipse's 4th studio album, and it came out in the year 2025, and this album is an absolute masterpiece. I mean, front to back, backed by Pharrell Williams production. The lyricism on this thing is absolutely insane. And can we just talk about how Malice left Earth on this album? Not a single bar wasted from either of the brothers. A flawless, just complete masterpiece in my opinion. I mean, that Malice verse on FICO, verse of the year. This album needs to win the Grammy or I am gonna crash out. The Neptunes. The Neptunes were a production duo consisting of Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo, and they're the ones who pretty much produced all of Clipse's music. I mean, their sound is what gave Clipse that cold, futuristic vibe that they had. Pharrell brought the melodies while Chad did all the technical wizardry. And did you know that at one point the Neptunes were producing about 43% of songs on US radio? I mean, this was in 2003, like geez, that's just insane. So while they were running the charts with all the pop hits, they were also behind Clipse's rawest, grimiest street anthems. I mean, without the Neptunes, Clipse wouldn't be Clipse. Cause. Cause is a famous street artist who actually designed some of the Clipse album covers, particularly Till the Casket Drops and Let God Sort 'Em Out. Grindin'. Grindin' is arguably Clipse's most popular song, but it's definitely one of their most influential. I mean, that beat is ridiculous. And a little fun fact, did you guys know that this beat could have gone to Jay-Z? I mean, Pharrell and Chad Hugo cooked this one up and they called Push saying, yo, get here in 15 minutes or this is going to Jay-Z. LV. LV is short for Louis Vuitton, and Clipse have made countless references to Louis Vuitton in their music, whether it's their mixtapes or studio albums. And Pusha T also always likes to post himself being fashionable in his LV wear on his Instagram. Pharrell Williams is actually the creative director of Louis Vuitton as of making this video, so that could have a lot to do with how they access all of those luxury clothes and are always super dripped out. Re-Up Gang. Now, it absolutely baffles me the amount of people who don't even know what the Re-Up Gang is. So the Re-Up Gang was a rap group consisting of Malice, Pusha T, Ab-Liva, and Sandman, and they dropped a classic set of mixtapes in the early 2000s, and Ab-Liva and Sandman also featured on Clipse songs several times in some instances. Obviously, Ab-Liva has been on every single Clipse album, and Sandman made an appearance on Hell Hath No Fury. And yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about the mixtapes in a bit more depth later on, but it goes without saying, you guys need to get with it if you don't know what the Re-Up Gang is by now. I still put it on surface knowledge, but it kind of surprises me the amount of people who don't even know what this is. Ab-Liva. Ab-Liva deserves his own section in this video. He's 1/4 of the Re-Up Gang we just talked about, and I'm going to say this loud and clear. Ab-Liva is a top 5 writer in hip-hop of all time. Ab-Liva is a top 5 writer in hip-hop of all time. Now, Ab-Liva is easily top 5 when it comes to pure pen game and rap. There's no debate. If you know Clipse and the Re-Up Gang, you already know how Liva would slide onto a track and outbar everyone with smooth wordplay and layered metaphors. But outside of his verses, Liva's pen game has been moving behind the scenes for years. I mean, he's officially credited as a writer on Kanye West's Yeezus album and was part of those legendary Yeezus era writing camps, helping craft concepts and lines that shaped the album's gritty tone. He's also been in creative sessions with Jay-Z and Pharrell where cooking up ideas, like the American Gangster era, and while you might not see his name on paper for Hov's tracks, the influence is there. I mean, Liva's the type of artist who doesn't care about the spotlight, but his peers, the Pusha T's, the Kanyes, the Pharrells, they know his pen is deadly. Whether it's on the We Got It For Cheap mixtapes, Clipse albums, or even Pusha's solo records, every time Liva shows up, you're guaranteed top-tier lyricism. He's a writer, and he's one of the most respected pens in the game. I mean, if you know, you know. Malice leaves. So after Hell Hath No Fury, you start to see a shift in Malice. While Pusha T was still locked into the street life rap, Malice was going through a serious personal and spiritual transformation. He started feeling the weight of everything Clipse rapped about. I mean, the drug dealing, the violence, the consequences. It wasn't entertainment for him anymore. Around this time, Malice became deeply religious. He found Christianity, and he felt he couldn't continue rapping about the life that brought him and his family so much pain. That's when he changed his name to No Malice, as a way of saying he was leaving behind the malice in his heart. He even wrote a book, Wretched, Pitiful, Poor, Blind, and Naked, detailing his struggles with fame, guilt, and his journey toward faith. This is why Clipse went on hiatus. It wasn't label drama this time, it was Malice making a life decision to walk a different path. Now, if you ask me, I think Malice has always been the more conscious rapper of the two. I mean, you can go as far back as his verse on I'm Not You, and you can see how he knows what he's doing is messed up, and it's just sort of evolved and transformed over the years into, you know, what eventually became his hiatus and leaving the Clipse. I mean, just look at his verse on the track Emotionless. It literally gives everything away, right before the hiatus too. We Got It For Cheap mixtapes volumes 1, 2, and 3. Now, the We Got It For Cheap mixtape series is iconic. It's a great run of mixtapes by the Re-Up Gang, which obviously, you know, includes the Clipse. And We Got It For Cheap Volume 2 is actually considered one of the greatest hip-hop mixtapes ever made just in history. I mean, that beat selection, Pusha T said it himself, like they're never gonna get something like that ever again, to have that amazing selection of beats on one singular tape. And I mean, the verses on these things, the hooks, the choruses, like everything is on point. I mean, you wouldn't even tell that these are like, you know, beats that, you know, mostly different artists use and, you know, stuff like that. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. Even Pharrell, like Pharrell gets so involved and does rapping on volumes 1 and 2 a lot. And his verses are, I mean, they're on point. They're great, you know? So definitely give these albums a shot. I mean, absolutely love them. I mean, Volume 2, I cannot get over how amazing it is. And yeah, Clinton Sparks hosted the first two, and then I think it was DJ Drama who hosted Volume 3. So great mixtapes, definitely check them out if you haven't. Jive. Jive is a record company that Clipse had a legendary beef with. After their first album, they got stuck in label limbo because of mergers and industry politics. I mean, Jive didn't know how to market a group rapping about coke when they were more focused on pop acts like Britney Spears. Clipse were sitting on Hell Hath No Fury for years, fighting to get it released, while the label kept pushing them to make radio-friendly records. I mean, the tension got so bad that Clipse started dropping mixtapes, the ones we just talked about, just to stay active, and when the album finally dropped, you could feel all that built-up frustration in every bar. Lil Skateboard P. Lil Skateboard P is one of Pharrell Williams' many nicknames. I mean, I like to associate Lil Skateboard P with the rapping side of Pharrell, you know, because every single track that he's featured on as, you know, and he's quoted as Lil Skateboard P, he's pretty much rapping, you know, doing his thing. So yeah, just a cool little thing. I mean, you guys probably already knew this one, but I thought I'd throw it in for those who don't. Sandman, also known as Sand Cannon. So Sandman is 1/4 of the Re-Up gang we discussed earlier. He was on the classic We Got It For Cheap mixtape series run. He has a very unique style of rapping and a really dope pen game as well. Another underrated pen game for sure in the rap atmosphere. But yeah, not much is known about his personal life. His Instagram account is actually private and I follow it. Somehow he just accepted me. And for that reason, I don't want to talk about him too much here. I mean, he's obviously trying to, you know, conserve his public image and keep it low key, but I can tell you it looks like he's doing well. He's enjoying his sports, enjoying reminiscing on music. He's a big supporter of Clipse still. I'm unsure if there was some sort of fallout between Sandman and Clipse, because I know his solo career was doing quite poorly compared to you know, Clipse when he tried to go solo. And there could have potentially been a fallout where they weren't on speaking terms, but they definitely are now as of 2025. And yeah, even Push said in a recent interview that, and Malice also said that, you know, he's on social media with Sandman, they're communicating. There is probably a small chance for a Re-Up Gang reunion, but it's cool to consider. And yeah, not many people talk about this guy, and anyone who has any information on, like, you know, I guess what he's up to, or if he's dropping any new music, it's not really, you know, promoted through his Instagram from what I've seen. But yeah, Sandman is a bit of a niche case, I guess, but definitely a dope pen game. Exclusive audio footage. So before Lord Willin, Clipse had an entire debut album called Exclusive Audio Footage recorded in the late 90s. The Neptunes produced the whole thing, and the sounds were way darker and raw compared to what was popping at the time. They dropped a single called The Funeral, but the label at the time, Elektra Records, didn't know what to do with Clipse and just shelved the entire project, which sucked. The album became an underground gem, passed around in bootlegs and leaks, and to this day, fans still call it one of the best unreleased albums in rap. It's that gritty, unpolished version of Clipse that shows you where they really came from. I personally love this album. I mean, songs like Power, Got Caught Dealing Part 2, and Body Snatchers are probably my favorites. It also has some cool features on here like Corrupt, which is kind of random, but yeah, such a dope unreleased project. I wish there were higher quality versions of this thing. If anyone has one, hit me up. But yeah. Road to Till the Casket Drops. Road to Till the Casket Drops was a mixtape that dropped in 2009 that was sort of a promotional thing before their Till the Casket Drops album. And this mixtape is actually pretty unknown amongst fans. I haven't seen that many people bring this up or talk about it. It's available on YouTube, so you can listen to it. And the mixtape really does have that Re-Up Gang energy with freestyles over popular beats at the time, and plus some exclusive tracks that actually slap, but they didn't end up making the album. And it wasn't an official studio project, but it kept their name buzzing, I guess, in the streets, and it also built up hype for the pretty mediocre Till the Casket Drops album, as you know, as the reception was. But for me, this mixtape is actually better than the album itself. This mixtape should have just been the album. Somehow this like promotional mixtape before an album is better. That's just my opinion though, that might be crazy, but don't hate on me before you actually go ahead and listen to this thing, because this thing is underrated. This thing is good. The Funeral music video. So The Funeral, like I said before, is an unreleased Clipse track that actually ended up being properly archived, and I believe it is on streaming now, so you can listen to the song. But this music video itself, I mean, it's kind of just hanging by a thread before it becomes lost media, right? It was uploaded by a random channel, and the description simply reads something like, "some rare video from Clipse," or something like that. And the whole vibe in this music video is super dark and serious. I mean, we see Pusha T, Malice, and Pharrell appear in this video, and from memory, I'm pretty sure Chad Hugo's somewhere there too. And it looks like they're really mourning something big. I mean, it starts with a hearse pulling up to a cemetery, and right away, you know this is about loss. You see them all dressed in black, standing around a coffin covered in roses, which shows it's not just about death, but respect and reflection. The slow, quiet scenes make it feel like they're thinking about how things have changed, maybe the loss of old friends or the life they used to live. It fits the song perfectly, which, you know, is all about pain, betrayal, and moving on from the past. Overall, this music video is just super dark, and some people report being uncomfortable watching it. I think the beat is sort of too squeaky for me to feel uncomfortable. Maybe if this was like a darker song in a way, I'd feel uncomfortable watching it, but yeah, it's an interesting piece of media that I'm surprised actually isn't lost, and it's been archived on YouTube, and hopefully that video doesn't get taken down. Pusha T has spoken about the meaning of the song in interviews before, saying that a lot of people around them were dying at the time, and there were all these funerals that everything just felt like one big funeral to them, which ultimately led to the creation of this song. I think the Neptunes production is pretty awesome, and this is, to my knowledge, the only music video where we see Pusha T with a buzz cut. So no dreads here, which is crazy to see young Push. Nigel Bricks. Nigel is Pusha T's son that he had with his wife Virginia, and Pusha has spoken on him before, saying he loves his son, he does like to post him on social media, and obviously the crazy part is, like, you know, the name Nigel Bricks, that sparked a lot of, you know, insane reactions from fans saying, oh my god, this guy really named his son after Bricks, which is insane. So yeah, if you don't know who Nigel is, it is Pusha T's son, and he's referenced him in several tracks, as you can see. Malice on I'm Not You. I'm Not You is the final track from Clipse's debut album Lord Willin', and man is it a banger. It's such an underrated track, and particularly the Malice verse is what fans love to talk about. A lot of people say that this is his best verse of all time. I don't disagree. In my opinion, this is in the top 5 or at least top 10 hip-hop verses of all time. Super conscious, just an amazing commentary. I mean, I've heard people say they've even studied this verse at school. Whether that's true or not, who really knows, but hey, I'm a teacher now. If I were teaching English, I'd be teaching this verse for sure. But yeah, I'm not an English teacher, so yeah, I mean, it's an insane verse. You guys definitely need to check this song out if you haven't heard it or revisited it in a while. And once you see this Malice verse, I mean, you'll know what I'm talking about. I mean, this verse needs more love, needs more appreciation. It is absolutely fantastic, and such a great way to end off the Lord Willin' album. FICO. FICO is a song off of Clipse's newest album, Let God Sort 'Em Out, and start to finish, this track is a lyrical masterpiece. It goes 16 bars with that insane multi-syllable internal rhyme scheme. You know, Pusha T does his thing, and then Malice matches it alongside Malice having verse of the year on this thing. I mean, this genuinely needs to be studied like in a lab. How did they pull this off? How did they do this? It genuinely baffles me. I could sit here and yap about it, or you could listen to how my boy I Am Mike P worded it in his video, and yeah, he's got some more experience because he is a rapper himself, and he talks about just how hard it is to actually achieve what the brothers did on this song.
In FICO, Pusha T and Malice decide to ping pong back and forth two 16-bar verses that consist of perfect internal multisyllabic rhymes that do not end from start to finish. Now, this once again is something I feel like as an artist, I have to step in and say, and I have to try to get the word spread. This is one of the most impressive songs that I've heard in a really long long time. This is some of the best technical rap you can possibly make. It's not an opinion. Knowing what goes into making internal rhymes what they are, knowing how hard it is to write 2 of them in a row, 3 of them in a row, 4 of them in a row, knowing how difficult it is to, if you decide to go past 4 bars of internal rhymes, not compromise the actual making sense of the bars, and as you start to try to make up rhymes and fill in the blanks because you're doing something as technical as internally rhyming and perfectly internally rhyming.
After listening to FICO for the first time and many times afterwards as well, I'm genuinely puzzled on whether Clipse are human or not, because pulling something like that off is genuinely insane. Like, it is so hard to do. They did it. FICO isn't below the surface because it's obscure. Everyone knows what this song is. It just came out. It's here because that rhyme scheme is not human. No Malice solo career. After Clipse, Malice didn't just disappear. He completely changed direction. He left the drug talk behind and focused on faith, accountability, and redemption. In 2013, he dropped his first solo album, Hear Ye Him. Still lyrically sharp, but now the focus was on spiritual growth and reflecting on the consequences of his past. He also wrote that book we talked about before, Wretched, Pitiful, Poor, Blind, and Naked, and then in 2017, he dropped another album called Let the Dead Bury the Dead, which is even colder. Many people didn't even know that the No Malice solo career was even a thing. I mean, everyone knows about Pusha T and how he signed to good music and collaborated with Kanye frequently and had some banger features and albums of his own along the years, but many people failed to recognize or even know that Malice had 2 pretty good albums as well along the way. Chad Hugo's Basement. Chad Hugo's Basement is basically a mythical spot in Clipse and Neptunes lore. Before the big studios and platinum plaques, Chad Hugo's home basement was where a lot of early Neptunes beats and Clipse sessions happened. It's where the raw, stripped-down versions of what would eventually become their signature sound was crafted. So we're talking pre-NERD, early 2000s. It wasn't glamorous, but it was the lab where they were cooking up ideas that they would later flip the whole rap and pop industry. The vibe was super do-it-yourself. I mean, keyboards, drum machines, rough vocal takes. Chad's basement was the experimental playground where Clipse, Pharrell, and Chad developed that cold, minimalistic Neptune sound. I mean, in Iceberg terms, Chad Hugo's Basement is the foundation level where everything that came after, Hell Hath No Fury, NERD, all those futuristic beats, it was born in its rawest form. And for the 1% of you who don't know what NERD is, just look it up. Mr. Me Too song meaning. Mr. Me Too is a track off Clipse's second album, Hell Hath No Fury, and there are so many conspiracy theories revolving around what this song actually truly means, but let's start with the simple stuff and all the popular theories. So, Mr. Me Too is a Clipse diss to industry biters, fake trendsetters, and label executives. The term calls out people who copy your style and act like they've been on it, especially rappers who started rocking Bape and Neptune's fashion after Pharrell and Clipse popularized it. One of the biggest subliminals was aimed at Lil Wayne, who started wearing Bape heavy around this time. Fans believe this was Clipse taking shots at Wayne for biting their entire aesthetic while pretending he was the one that set the trend. Alright, so now onto some of the more obscure and out there theories that I've seen regarding this song. So, one of the lesser known theories is that Pusha T and Lil Wayne were allegedly supposed to have a private sit-down session to squash the tension over Wayne biting their style, particularly the Bape situation, which I know this whole thing sounds kind of petty and just high school, but allegedly, industry insiders say that this meeting was set up by mutual contacts. I mean, another gray area. We don't know who set this up. But Clipse's camp, possibly Pharrell himself, pulled back last minute, feeling that Wayne hadn't earned a seat at the table. Some believe this meeting falling through is why Mr. Me Too was kept subliminal and not just an all-out Lil Wayne diss, but behind the scenes, the beef just simmered quietly for the years. So, yeah, quite an interesting one. And then the other theory I've seen, this one is just kind of ridiculous, but hey, maybe you guys believe it, is that Mr. Me Too is also secretly a Pharrell diss theory. So there's a deep cut theory amongst hardcore fans that Mr. Me Too wasn't just aimed at outside biters. It had subliminal frustration aimed at Pharrell too, which is crazy to think about, right? Because he's on the track. So at the time, Pharrell was becoming a huge solo star, obviously, doing mainstream collabs, stepping deeper into fashion and pop culture, and some fans believe that Clipse felt Pharrell was being pulled into industry circles, and that Clipse were just actively rejecting this, creating tension between them. But Of course, this just wouldn't make sense. You'd think that the duo would be more vocal about this and not just be, secretive, but apparently it's not an outright diss to Pharrell, but some believe lines in the song are Pusha and Malice venting their frustrations about the industry politics Pharrell was getting deeper into, which Clipse were actively fighting against. From certain angles it makes sense, but in the grand scheme of things, I think, if this truly was a thing, it would have damaged their friendship, and then, Pharrell and Clipse would be no more. But these theories are not confirmed, but they add a whole new layer of tension beneath the surface of Mr. Me Too. This song is so deep. There's more theories. These are just the main ones. I could do a whole video on Mr. Me Too, dissecting the music video and the lyrics. I mean, that could get an iceberg in itself, honestly. Let's move on. What Happened to That Boy Butterfly Effect. What Happened to That Boy is a song by Birdman and Clipse that came out in 2002, and the Neptunes produced this one. But behind the scenes, Cash Money Records actually never paid Pharrell for the production, which caused some serious tension. And that beat was probably worth a lot of money back then, because that is one of the hardest hip-hop beats of all time. You're gonna hear me say that a lot in this video. But this situation, I mean, it seems minor, right? But here's where the butterfly effect kicks in. So, starts off with Pharrell getting salty with Cash Money, and as Clipse's right-hand man, this tension spills over to Pusha T and Malice, and over time, Lil Wayne starts rocking Bape and Billionaire Boys Club, which obviously Pharrell and Clipse had made iconic, as we discussed before, and Pusha T sees this as Wayne biting their entire aesthetic, but because of the Birdman and Neptunes payment issue, the relationship here is already sour, and this leads to the subliminal shots like in Mr. Me Too, which many believe was a passive-aggressive diss at Wayne for copying their style, which it is. And the Clipse and Wayne tension just bubbles quietly for years, right? Eventually escalating into Pusha's feud with Drake, which culminates in the infamous Story of Adidon diss track in 2018. So this one unpaid beat for What Happened to That Boy just set off this giant chain reaction. I mean, first it was the Birdman and Neptunes tension, which led to the Wayne and Pusha subliminals, and then that escalated to Pusha T and Drake, one of rap's biggest beefs ever. So obviously Cash Money Records, Drake's associated with, and that's, all kind of connected. And yeah, a lot of people actually know about this one. I don't know why I put it so low on the iceberg, but as I said before, this is my first attempt at a video like this. Maybe some of you guys out there didn't know, the full details and the extent to it, but pretty crazy butterfly effect, and how one little, minor issue can lead to just such a big thing, in the future down the line. So, absolutely insane. Let's move on. Clinton Sparks. Clinton Sparks is a lot of things. He's a DJ, a producer, an entrepreneur. He worked with Clipse during their We Got It For Cheap mixtape series. Like I mentioned before, he did host the first 2 volumes, and he helped popularize Clipse during the early internet era. Clinton Sparks was just the mixtape goat back in the day. I mean, he worked with Kanye West, Diddy, Akon, Pitbull, T-Pain, Lady Gaga, Rick Ross, LMFAO, Busta Rhymes, even Eminem. He worked with a lot of big artists during the early mixtape internet era, and yeah, working with him was basically a really good thing, because he was good at getting your music out there, and he was a huge help to the Clipse, obviously, because that We Got It For Cheap mixtape series was so iconic. Terror. Terror is actually Pusha T's old stage name. Before he was known as Pusha T, he was known as Terror, so a lot of people don't actually even know this, even true Clipse fans, surprisingly. But if you listen closely to the exclusive audio footage lyrics, you'll notice that, he's referred to as Terror. I mean, Malice was always Malice, that never changed. But yeah, before Pusha T was Pusha T, he was actually known as Terror, which, yeah, let me know what you guys think of that. Was it a good idea for the name change? I think it was. I mean, I don't think Terror is, terrible, but, yeah, a lot of people surprisingly don't know that Pusha T's old stage name, or MC name, was actually Terror. I've seen it spelt a few different ways before, but this is the most common way I've seen it spelt. Famlay. Famlay is a dope MC from VA who had very close affiliations with Clipse and the Neptunes. So it looks like Famlay was actually supposed to drop his own solo project in 2004, but his deal with Def Jam fell through, so the project was shelved. And we all remember Famlay from his work on the Lord Willin album, and his track Rock and Roll on the Neptunes Clones album. That is, to this day, my favorite song on the Clones album. It is so good. And it just makes you wonder where such a dope MC is nowadays. He's gone incredibly quiet since 2003. If you're from Virginia, I'm sure you know who this is, but what's he up to now? Well, it looks like as of 2025, he's shifted into entrepreneurship and music event building in his home. So he co-founded this thing called the Cousins Festival. You may have seen Push post about this on his social media. The fest launched in August 2024 and returned in 2025 with major acts like Erykah Badu, Jeezy, T-Pain, Lil Kim, with local food and community-focused initiatives. So he's also hosting an R&B block party, and he also appears as a frequent co-host on Pharrell's new podcast, Other Tone Media. So looks like he's still tight with all of the OGs. I mean, he was always there, like, back in the Lord Willin era. Dropped some dope verses on, Lord Willin. And yeah, I guess like not many people, ask about this guy. I don't see many discussions about this guy. Well, there's a little update on him. I mean, you can look into it, but it's not like there's anything too crazy here, like a little someone we're about to get into now. So let's move on. Rosco P, Coldchain. Now, Rosco P, Coldchain is one of the OGs when it comes to being, a frequent Clipse collaborator. He was heavily, associated with the group and Pharrell and the Neptunes back in the day. He was known for his unique flow, lyrical imagery. Look, some people say they don't like his rapping style. They're saying he's like, rapping off beat and all this stuff. But I think he's pretty good. And I think he brings, some fun energy, some humor and bounce to the, serious nature of the Clipse tracks. But a lot of people don't talk about him because most people don't even know what happened. So eventually Rosco just faded into obscurity and everyone just sort of like, just brushed it off. But here's what actually happened. So in 2008, Rosco was arrested in Philly for a double homicide. He was allegedly involved in a shooting during a robbery setup that went sideways. So this news stunned the hip-hop community because it felt like Rosco was just inches away from his major breakthrough. Pharrell and Star Trek insiders tried to get him legal help and offered some character support, but ultimately his charges were just too heavy. The streets Rosco rapped about so vividly had caught up to him in real life, and the case effectively just killed his rap career, and he faded into obscurity. So it's crazy to think about. I mean, Pharrell did actually spend a lot of money trying to free this guy up, but Rosco eventually was freed. I'm pretty sure it was last year he was freed. And he's actively posting on social media now, supporting Clipse, reminiscing a bit here and there. He's been at some of the Let God Sort Him Out listening parties and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But he's got this sort of like weird aura around him in the sense that he's like a bit of an underground legend. Like Mixtape heads and Neptunes fans, they still mention Rosco in the same breath as the Re-Up Gang members. Tracks like Hot, Cut Damn, they just remain as cult classics, and his verses are just dissected for their cold brilliance. I mean, to this day, Rosco P. Coldchain is seen as one of the best MCs that never got to drop a full album. Such an underrated artist. It would have been amazing to see in a parallel universe where he never got locked up, where his rap career would have taken him. So, yeah, Rosco P. Coldchain, he's free now, he's back. He's better than ever. He's done some interviews talking about how stupid his past was, so it looks like he's becoming a better version of himself as well, which is the main part that matters, right? So shout out to Rosco, dope MC. It's good to see him on a road to, a better life. Clipse manager gets arrested. So while Clipse were rapping about cocaine on wax, their manager and childhood friend Anthony Jeezy Gonzalez was allegedly moving bricks in real life. For years, there were whispers in Virginia Beach that Clipse's music wasn't just fiction, it was a coded soundtrack to a real operation. Gonzalez wasn't just managing tours and press, he was reportedly overseeing a multi-million-dollar drug ring moving over 100 kilos of cocaine and thousands of pounds of marijuana. In 2009, after a lengthy DEA investigation, Gonzalez was arrested and sentenced to 32 years in federal prison. The bust sent shockwaves through Clipse's inner circle. The feds painted Jeezy as the kingpin of a massive drug trafficking operation. All the while, Pusha T and Malice maintained their innocence, insisting their music was just art imitating life and not direct involvement. But for fans, this blurred lines. I mean, was Clipse's coke rap documentary or fiction? And did Star Trek's corporate glow blind the industry to how real their lyrics truly were? Pharrell allegedly distanced himself after the bust, wary of federal eyes, and this legal fallout coincided with Clipse's hiatus, as Malice found religion and Pusha T pursued a solo career. Now, as for my opinion on this situation, I mean, not that it matters in the grand scheme of things at all, but this article here pretty much sums up what I think. Clipse's former manager says 95% of the duo's Lord Willin' drug raps were based on his life. Now, obviously, we know that Malice, raps very consciously, and I do think that the brothers were rapping from stuff they experienced and rather than, stuff they actually coordinated or were directly involved with themselves. And I'm pretty sure Push has also clarified that this is actually the case in some interviews. So, yeah, that would also explain how they've never, been arrested or gotten into legal trouble. Smear campaign. So leading up to the Clipse's fourth studio album, Let God Sort 'Em Out, this album was actually delayed several times for several different reasons. So the first reason was, if you didn't know, Def Jam did not want the album to drop because of the Kendrick Lamar feature. They believed it was dissing Drake. And this isn't technically part of the smear campaign. It's more of a, Def Jam protecting themselves, not wanting to get caught in the crossfire type of thing. But still, Clipse had to pay a 7-figure deal to get out of this. And then 1 week before the album dropped on 11th of July, Clipse were hit by a coordinated smear campaign. So fake critics online, many suspecting this was just orchestrated by rival rap fans, so Drake fans, stuff like that, were dismissing the project as trash and discouraging people from streaming it. So many discouraged listeners were reacting to an unauthorized leak of the album on 8th of July, and these smear messages often came from anonymous accounts on social platforms like Twitter. And one fan thread on Album of the Year even labeled it as disgusting and suggested the hate had been paid for. The smear campaign on this album is disgusting. Someone paid random accounts to hate on this album. That is a quote. So the way Clipse rebuked this was absolutely perfect. So Pusha T publicly addressed the smear campaign, defending the album and the hype around it. He called out the hate while clarifying it stemmed from the leak and the album's high-profile features Kendrick Lamar, Nas, Tyler the Creator, John Legend, Stove God Cooks. Rather than panic, they leaned into it. By emphasizing the prestige of the guest list and the critics' premature negativity, Clipse reframed attention on the album's quality and their control of the narrative. So basically, they did that, and the result was a smash release and a critical triumph. It's considered, pretty much album of the year as of right now, 2025. It's done super well. They refused to censor or back down. They used that negativity to just fuel the interest, and critics and fans ended up vindicated. The album wasn't just good. It was, it's widely considered a powerful reassertion of Clipse's artistry and legacy. So, yeah, this smear campaign completely failed. And Clipse rebuked it perfectly. Major Figures. So Major Figures was a Philly rap crew consisting of Gilly the Kid, Ab-Liva, and a whole bunch of others. And they dropped this project called Figures for Life. Jeez, that sounds weird saying that, in the year 2000. Though it was short-lived, they were influential in shaping Philly's street rap sound and mixtape culture, with Ab-Liva later joining Clipse in the Re-Up Gang, carrying their raw style into Clipse's coke rap legacy. Fast Life music video. Fast Life is a music video by Clipse and Re-Up Gang, a deep cut from the Re-Up Gang era. Fast Life had a low-budget, barely promoted video that mostly circulated through mixtape circles and early 2000s blogs. Its obscurity makes it a hidden gem, showcasing Clipse and Ab-Liva at their rawest, long before the polished Hell Hath No Fury sound dominated. To be honest, not many people know about this music video, or even song for that matter, so it's worth checking out. I think it's an absolute banger. That beat is really dope. Jay-Z beef. So for this one, hopefully you didn't get too excited because there was never truly a real Clipse and Jay-Z beef. However, there is a rumor that Jay-Z dissed Clipse subliminally on his song Thank You from the Blueprint 3. So in this track, Jay raps about shooting through a few clips, which some fans thought was a subliminal aimed at the Clipse, but the chatter grew enough that Pusha T and Malice addressed it in interviews, saying that they didn't believe it was a diss and that they had nothing but respect for Jay. And Pusha even said that Jay's a rapper and he has to like the Clipse. He knows we're good. So in the end, it was more of a fan speculation than a real feud, but in the end, it remains as one of those small moments that adds mystery to Clipse's history. Whoa, didn't mean for that to rhyme. Half brothers. Did you know that Clipse are actually half brothers? So they share the same father but have different mothers. They grew up together in Virginia Beach, and this family connection is actually a big part of their chemistry and how they've maintained such a tight creative bond across their careers. Really interesting fact that not a lot of people actually know. DJ No Doubt mixtapes. Now, DJ No Doubt mixtapes are such an interesting topic. I mean, have you even heard about this thing? It's just doing my head in trying to research this properly. I mean, the only proper DJ No Doubt mixtape that I have seen in its full is the mixtape volume 1. It's this one I'm showing right here. This is actually a photo from my copy that I've reviewed and showcased on my channel because no one else seems to know what this thing is, have this thing, or there doesn't even seem to be a full, like, proper digital archive on this thing. No one's uploaded the full thing on YouTube yet. I don't even know if, like, anyone's heard all the tracks on here apart from me, but this just seems to be a very obscure topic. Well, who is DJ No Doubt, first of all? Well, DJ No Doubt is Clipse's former DJ, and he was like the main hype man for Clipse in the early 2000s. He appears in interviews and mixtape releases associated with Star Trek and the Clipse camp. And he released a couple of different things, but it's hard to distinguish what's bootleg and what's not. I have seen a volume 2 somewhere on like a Wikipedia, but then I couldn't find it when I was looking for it for this video, so very strange topic. If you can pick up a CD of this for a good price, I think it's a pretty cool thing to have because it is incredibly rare. Yeah, just such a strange topic. I mean, DJ No Doubt, pretty cool. I think he does go a little bit overboard with his soundboard. He does these, like, you know, goofy police sirens and tracks and just random stuff on tracks, but there's some dope cuts on these mixtapes that are, like, you know, definitely, like, not that many people have heard. So yeah, we're getting pretty obscure now. DJ No Doubt, look into it, and hopefully you can find some cool stuff and help me, you know, locate some of this lost media. And let me know if you guys want me to upload the full mixtape on YouTube, because I do have the physical CD, but I don't have a digital copy of it yet. So if you want that, let me know in the comments section below. Malice's private life. Now, this entry refers to the fact that we simply don't know much about Malice's private life. I mean, someone in a Reddit community let me know that he actually has a restaurant chain or something, but I was like, what? And then I looked it up and could not find anything. So if that guy's watching this video, leave a comment letting me know what you meant by that, because I really wanted to talk about that, but now that I've looked it up, it doesn't seem to be a thing. I mean, we've already covered like most of Malice's, like, you know, spiritual transformation, how he wrote the book, how you know, he changed to a path of, you know, faith and stuff like that. So there isn't really that much to talk about here because we simply don't know. It's a mystery, which is why it's so deep on the iceberg. I mean, one thing that is confirmed is that Malice is married and he does have kids. And those kids are like, oh, I want to say around 20 years old right now. I think I remember him saying in a recent interview. But obviously, unlike Pusha T, like, we know who Pusha T is married to. We know he's got a son. Malice keeps it completely locked up. And I think it's important that I respect that and don't go digging anywhere just to find any information. But yeah, just like with Sandman before, we're just gonna, you know, sort of, you know, respect it and take it for what it is and just appreciate the fact that he keeps his life private, and that's his choice. And yeah, we don't know much as a result, but it would be cool to know a little bit more. We want Malice to open up a bit more, right? So yeah, let's move on. So Be It Hidden Drake diss. Alright, so this absolutely blew my mind. I saw this somewhere on social media and then I tried to find it again, but I couldn't, and it just has not left my mind since. So, on the song So Be It, it is this part specifically where Pusha T says, I monogram like confetti, switch is ready. Obviously this is already like a freaking 1000 entendre, but one thing that this guy showed me, I was like, holy freaking crap. If this is like actually intended, I'm on a Graham like confetti, switch is ready. I'm on a gram, I'm on a Graham. You see what I'm trying to say? Drake! Is this a So Be It Drake diss? I don't know. Let's not get excited. I don't know. This could just be like a crazy coincidence. It probably is, but imagine if Pusha T intended this. This just makes it that much deeper. Am I right? Am I not the only one freaking out about this? Am I not the only one who's seen that one video of that guy? This is just crazy. Exclusive audio footage 2. Exclusive audio footage 2 is just a rumor, unfortunately. Fans have long speculated about a follow-up to Clipse's unreleased debut exclusive audio footage from 1999, often dubbed the 2.0. The idea comes from all of these scattered comments by Pusha T over the years about revisiting old material, plus the occasional leak of early Arista-era tracks. No official project has ever been confirmed, unfortunately, but the rumor persists that Pharrell and Clipse once discussed reworking or updating the Lost album for a proper release. It remains one of those deep-cut mysteries that hardcore fans keep alive. Man, do I wish I have more to talk about on this one, but unfortunately, it's just a rumor, and it's probably just excess tracks anyway, which still we want to hear, but yeah, 2.0, it's considered lost media or just non-existent. By the Grace of God diss. By the Grace of God is the final track on Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clipse, and this is the only song in the entire album where Malice actually has the first verse, which already says a lot in itself. But the thing is, people are trying to decode who Malice is dissing, I guess, in this song, even though it's a kind of like reflective and general sort of approach he has. Some people do believe that he's dissing someone. I've heard some people say Chad Hugo like here and there, but yeah, it's particularly that part like never be a we again, where he says that, where people are starting to get confused. But ultimately, I think it's an agreement that this is a sort of a self-diss or a like, you know, a reflective verse, I guess, or a, you know, or a group or a generalized diss. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not a target, it's not like targeted at an external rival, but it's like introspective, it's reflective. It just fits with the album's, like, you know, themes of redemption, faith, you know, mortality, and just turning into a powerful character study at the close of the, you know, the Clipse journey here. So yeah, I think we can ultimately agree that there's no real diss here, even though some say that there is. But yeah, I'm gonna say that this is, no, there's no diss here. That's my ultimatum. You might have a different take. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Keys Open Doors music video. More lost media. So there's a long-standing rumor in Clipse fandom that a music video was originally planned or even made for Keys Open Doors from the Hell Hath No Fury album. The song's a banger, by the way, but it was never actually made or officially released. So despite being a standout track with intense symbolism, if you don't know what Keys Open Doors means, I'm not gonna bother explaining it. You should know by now, but you can look it up, I guess. But fan speculation suggests that budget constraints or label problems again shelved it, turning it into an urban legend. But yeah, unfortunately, just another, you know, a rumor. Maybe a video exists out there, but I highly doubt it, to be honest. And yeah, we can maybe all come together and beg Clipse to drop it, or, you know, just spam tag Pusha T on Instagram or something. So yeah, unfortunately, lost media or just non-existent media. Haitian references. So across their catalog, Clipse have subtly referenced Haiti a lot. Haitian culture, voodoo imagery, usually tied to the darker side of their coke rap storytelling. Pusha T has mentioned Zoe's, a nod to Haitian street crews, and sprinkled in voodoo-tinged lines, while Malice has referenced Port-au-Prince Connects, which I don't know if I pronounced that right, as part of their drug trade narrative. And these aren't just like surface level name drops, they actually deepen the mythos of Clipse's music, like hinting at international connections and spiritual undertones in their world building. Like, it's just obscure because the references are coded, they're rare, they're only caught by listeners with like a cultural or street context, adding another layer to, like, you know, the Clipse's lore. It's pretty cryptic, it's pretty like interwoven well. That's the thing, Clipse has so many layers. Like, they do not waste a single line when they drop heat, when they drop a verse. Like, it's insane. Like, you could study Clipse lyrics for days on days and still not like realize everything that they've put into it, which is what makes their pen game just so unmatched. So yeah, very interesting. Nightmare's original version. Did you know that the final track of Hell Hath No Fury, Nightmares, actually has an unreleased Malice only version? Yes, so there's talk of an alternate cut of Clipse's Nightmares that doesn't have Bilal's chorus, with only Malice's verse with no Pusha T verse recorded yet. So the theory is that it's rooted in early studio sessions, suggesting that Malice initially laid down his verse solo before the featured artists were added. Fans speculate that this version circulated among insiders or post-production leaks, but unfortunately, it's considered lost media. There are several instances of people talking about this on websites that I've found, but I'm yet to actually find the original version. I'm still on the hunt for it. I think it's out there somewhere if people had their hands on it during the early 2000s, throughout the We Got It For Cheap mixtapes era. It was, circulating during that time, which means it's in someone's hands, right? Someone's gonna have it on their old crappy laptops, so it just kind of adds to this lost track mythology, the idea of early versions, that just vanished before release. It would have been cool to see, and obviously, it's obscure. I mean, a lot of people haven't heard of it, but I am on my mission to find it. Hopefully I can find it one day. I'm going to upload it right here on this channel, so leave a subscribe, leave a like, all that good stuff, and make sure those notifications are turned on, because as soon as I find that, I'm uploading that and sharing it. So if you have it, don't gatekeep it. Show the world, we want to see it. So it is out there, it does exist. I mean, we've seen people talking about it. We cannot truly confirm it exists, right? But if people are talking about it on forums, that means obviously a group of people have heard it. So pretty interesting one. Chad Hugo Ghost Production. Now, ghost production refers to, basically think of ghost writing except in producer terms, right? So ghost producing a track for someone means making a beat for someone kind of secretly, right? Or under the table. I mean, when you look at the Neptunes, it consisted of Pharrell and Chad, and this talks specifically about the tracks that Chad Hugo allegedly produced by himself for the Clipse. I mean, this can obviously apply with Pharrell Williams as well. We recently saw Pusha T confirm in an interview that apparently the whole Hell Hath No Fury album was just Pharrell. Even though I don't know about that, but apparently, according to Push, that whole album was just produced by Pharrell. So you could say the same thing. Pharrell goes production, Chad Hugo goes production, but specifically Chad Hugo's goes production. Whilst the Neptunes do consist of, Pharrell and Chad, and they are credited jointly on Clipse tracks, there's been long talk in producer circles that some of Clipse's hardest cuts were solely Chad Hugo's work. So fans point to the stripped-back menace of tracks like Keys Open Doors or Right Around Shining as quote-unquote Chad joints, crafted with minimal Pharrell fingerprints, because credits always list the Neptunes as a unit. These solo Chad-built beats remain unconfirmed, making his quiet influence on Clipse an obscure but fascinating layer of their production lore. Now, obviously, the tracks Keys Open Doors and Right Around Shining being considered Chad joints would be contrary to what Push just told us, being that the whole Hell Hath No Fury album was produced by Pharrell. Look, we don't know the exact details of this, and obviously when it's credited as the Neptunes, we don't know if one of them took the wheel or if one of them did the whole thing by themselves when we're talking about individual tracks, but it is an interesting thing to consider. Again, unfortunately, we can't really pinpoint any tracks because, I've researched and I haven't been able to, to find anything definitive apart from speculation and people just being like, oh yeah, this is a Chad type of thing, or this is a Pharrell type of thing, which makes sense. But I mean, based on if you have a producer ear or not, you could probably just hear the track out to the point where you're like, okay, I can hear the Chad on this, I can hear the Pharrell on this, but very interesting to, consider that it is probably highly likely that Chad had some solo cuts and Pharrell definitely also had some solo cuts when it comes to production for Clipse. So yeah, that's what I mean by ghost production. So there's a new term you guys may have learned today. So really cool. Japan bootlegs. Now, for whatever reason, Japan is infamous for having bootlegged so much Clipse material, whether it's exclusive audio footage, their first unreleased album, on formats such as CD and vinyl. I've seen those vinyl go for hundreds of dollars, by the way. just the discs themselves, not even in the proper case. Mixtapes, random like compilations. I mean, there's already so many like Clipse mixtapes and just random physical media out there. But specifically in Japan, sometime in the mid 2000s, like a string of Japan exclusive Clipse bootlegs just surfaced, often on CDR or just low run vinyl. And yeah, like I said, they just included those rare versions of early albums or mixtapes, freestyles, alternative cuts. Maybe the original version of Nightmares is somewhere out there. I am going to Japan next year. I'm going to be buying a whole bunch of CDs, so hopefully I can find some clips while I'm there. Some were sold in Tokyo's indie record shops or just via niche import sites, typically within unofficial artwork and English liner notes. They're obscure because they were never widely distributed and often pressed in tiny quantities, and they weren't acknowledged by Star Trek or Clipse, just making them, deep cut collector items for the hardcore fans. So they're not official merchandise, they're not licensed, but it just makes you wonder how much of there is there, like when you look at the inside of my copy of the DJ No Doubt mixtape, it makes me question, like, is this licensed or is this just one of those Japan bootlegs? Because it has that Japanese text in there. So it brings up the question, like, does this also mean that exclusive licensed Japan merch was launched for Clipse? Obviously, you get the CDs with the Obi strips, like, that come out for, like, every standard CD released over there, but what about the exclusive stuff? What about the mixtapes and everything? There is so much out there, and I need to do my research, honestly, like, and just find what's out there because, well, first of all, the problem is it's not archived well, even if I do find stuff or, like, a cover or two out there. So there still isn't much to talk about, but once I go physically hunt for it, I'll make an update video and I'll show you guys, like, what I find, if I do find anything, that is. But yeah, all very rare stuff, all very obscure. There are lots of Japan bootlegs for Clipse music. First Clipse song. The first Clipse song was The Funeral, which is out. You can listen to it. We've talked about it a little bit already. But there were definitely earlier versions of it that surfaced in 1996 to 1997 during the exclusive audio footage sessions with Elektra Records. Clipse signed to Elektra in 1996 with the Neptunes, producing those early demos, and the single The Funeral was then released in 1999 despite being recorded years before. So it's estimated that it was recorded between 1996 and 1997 during the shelved exclusive audio footage sessions, but obviously officially dropped a few years later. Malice is better. This entry refers to a lot of things, primarily the fact that Pusha T always crowns his brother as the better rapper and the better lyricist of the duo, and many fans also crown Malice as the quote-unquote better rapper, despite Pusha T being more popular, more mainstream, more well-known. It is, discussed heavily which of the two are better, but I think that's a bit of a toxic way of looking at it. I don't want this entry to, like, convey that, sort of like toxic, oh, one of them's better than the other type of thing. I think they complement each other perfectly, and there's no need for a debate. They are a hip-hop duo, they are brothers, and they both bring their own charm to the songs that they, deliver on in their own ways. Obviously, objectively, I think we can all agree that Malice would be the better lyricist, but Pusha T is also better in other ways too. I mean, he brings more fun to the tracks. He brings, the yellow diamonds look like pee-pee type of lines, whereas, Malice brings the, the very conscious, side of the, this is messed up type of thing, while Pusha T just raps, really raw and just street, that street hip hop. So I think people need to stop, like debating on which one's better, who got who on each song, because they both kill it, they do amazing, and they're equally as good as each other. They're two of my favorite MCs of all time. Clipse means so much to me, and the only reason this is at the bottom of the list is because I just wanted to end the video on this note, to be honest with you, and just tell you guys that, they're both amazing. Pusha T and Malice, they're literally like, my childhood, believe it or not. Grew up on their music, absolutely love them. One of my favorite discographies of all time. And yeah, I just think this discussion, that, oh, one of them's better than the other, sort of needs to stop. Let's acknowledge, their individual capabilities and strengths, and then, you know, just acknowledge them as a group because they are a hip-hop duo and one of the greatest hip-hop duos of all time. And ladies and gentlemen, we made it to the bottom of the iceberg. That wraps up my Clipse Iceberg Explained. As I said, please don't hate me. This is my first ever attempt at a video like this. I literally had to teach myself how to edit properly because you guys know my channel is more, you know, hands-on unboxing and, you know, very raw 2010s vibe. But if you guys did enjoy this one, I'm going to plan to make more videos like this because it was actually a lot of fun talking about, you know, my favorite hip-hop group of all time being Clipse. And yeah, as I said, big shout out to Pusha T and Malice. If you guys are ever watching this video, I've said this once and I'll say it again. I don't want anything from you. All I want is just cool and weird merch, just shit like that. If you got any weird promo CDs, any cool shirts, I'm size XL, anything like that, send that shit over. I don't want your money. I don't want any of that. I just want like cool Clipse related shit because I am a massive fan. But anyways, I do appreciate you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, definitely leave a sub. I'm going to plan to make more videos like this again. But most of the time here on this channel, I like to review and unbox music. So if this has invited any new people over, welcome in. This is a great channel with a great community. And yeah, I'm going to be posting my CD, cassette, vinyl collections real soon for 2025. So keep an eye out for those. And yeah, what can I say? I really do appreciate you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out whatever else is on my channel. I'm sure there's something you'll enjoy. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.